The Collingwood boys are back at the home of football, Marvel Stadium. Let's talk about it. Before we jump into this match preview, it is getting super cold outside. I've been wearing my Swoop hoodie. I know it's a bit of a douchey sort of bag thing to do, to wear your own sort of merch outside of your own four walls, but this jumper or this hoodie has been keeping me so bloody warm. The link is down below. I've reduced the price. You would be supporting me, supporting the channel, grabbing a hoodie, grabbing a hat or a bucket hat, a t-shirt. It would mean the absolute world to me. So we're back. The bye happened. We all took a nice break. The boys went on holidays. There was a few that got engaged. I took a little bit of a break as well. I didn't put as many videos out because I didn't want to sort of get burnt out and give you guys a rest from all of my videos. But we are back. When we take on St Kilda on Saturday night, we will have played one game in 22 days. I know I've said this in a couple of videos, but that's wild, right? We were coming off 5-day breaks here and there towards the start of the season and all this sort of jazz, resting older players and stuff. But by all accounts, one game in 22 days, these guys should be absolutely fit, firing, and ready to go. I feel like this game is going to tell us a lot about Collingwood. We kind of know where St Kilda are at, and we'll talk about them in a second. But it's going to say a lot about Collingwood, right? The last time, now how's this for parallels? Last year when we had the bye, we had just beaten North Melbourne by a point, come out of the bye, lose our first 4 games after the bye. This season, we just beat Melbourne by a point, have the bye, and we're coming back from the bye now. Do I think we're going to lose 4 games in a row? I definitely don't think that's going to happen. But there was obviously a switch of mentality last season, and we just came out really slow after that bye. And yes, there were injuries and all this sort of stuff, but I'm not making excuses for losing 4 games in a row. Then you look at where we're situated now. Looking at the list, we're pretty healthy. Yes, we've got a few players to come back, and we will see those players come back in Maynard and Lipinski. You would think would come back this weekend. And you know, Schultz, De Goey, Tom Mitchell. Well, Tom Mitchell's not injured, but there are still a bunch of players to come back. They're waiting in the wings, and De Goey and Schultz, we know, have got those injuries, so they'll have to work through it. They'll probably still a month away or so from even sniffing the first team, you know, or around that first team to try and get in. So we're very healthy now compared to where we were last season, and I think the mentality shift from this season to last season, you can see it on the boys' faces, has been totally different for the better. I think that's going to be the biggest lesson we learn from this Collingwood side is how turned on or how switched on are we when the ball is bounced at Marvel Stadium. Now, I said Marvel Stadium was a home of football. I don't mind Marvel, right? It is what it is for me. I like Marvel. But the thing with coming back and, you know, playing a Marvel tenant as a home game for us is just stupid. I've said this for years, right? The Bulldogs and you know, playing those sort of games there where we're the home team, but that's actually their home ground. Stupid. It is what it is. I need to see these players ready from the absolute get-go. I know, you know, historically this year, our third quarters have been where we do most of our damage. Yes, our second half, that's where we can do our damage. But I want to see us hit the ground running from that first bounce because we know that 70-point loss that St Kilda had last week against the Doggies, they're going to want to atone for those sins, right? Those Saints are going to want to atone for those sins, and they're going to want to show what they can do against the best side in it at the moment, and they're going to come out so hard. I just have this feeling that they're going to throw the absolute kitchen sink at us. So we have to withstand that pressure and then, you know, a bit of an arm wrestle and bang, put it down and then hit them as hard as we can. The Saints are a bit of an interesting one at the moment. Now, over the last 5 games, where they're scoring their most from is turnovers, surprisingly. They're scoring on average 44 points from turnover, and their defensive chains from 50 is resulting into scores. That's their biggest gateway to scoring, and that's because you have Sinclair down the back who just played his 200th game. Nasai down the back as well. You've got these halfbacks that are just that run and gun and carry for the Saints, which is their strength. Their one strength is probably their half-back line, leading and going through the corridor and going through the middle to get to scores, because that's where they're creating most of their scores from. If you can shut down Nasiah or, even a Sinclair, you'd go a long way into not only winning this game, but smashing them, right? Smashing them. Because that's what you want to see. You don't want to see Collingwood just win by 12 points. You want to see a 50 point or so win. And the beauty about Collingwood at the moment is that we are one of, or if not the best pressure team in the AFL. And when you look at our half forwards who, these St Kilda halfbacks will be playing on, you're looking at Jamie Elliott sometimes plays a little bit up the ground, but then you've got some sort of like Bobby Hill, Bo McCreary, Lipinski as they sort of chuck him down there. There's these guys there that will keep Nasiah and will keep Sinclair very, very accountable. Now, the Doggies last week didn't really have to do that too much because they were just kicking an insane score, so they didn't really have to worry about shutting down too many players. But if we want to stop their run and stop their carry and stop them their biggest, opportunity to score from goal, those are the two players that we have to put our attention into. And yes, we need to trust our system, defense, and our system in general. And we do. I'm not saying tag these players. I'm saying I want to pummel them into the ground. That's exactly what I'm saying. So you want to stop Nasiah and Sinclair from giving them any sort of ball. Another point about the St Kilda team that's going to be interesting to see is if they do go for a younger looking side and rest or drop their older players and see what a younger looking St Kilda looks like. Filippo and Dow should be returning to their side. It looks like they'll add in the Flying Viking as well, who is a big defender who's going to be taking intercept marks or trying to take intercept marks over our tall forwards or our forwards just in general. So that's going to be interesting to sort of navigate as well, because it can go one of two ways. It can either blow up in their faces, right? Or it's the element of surprise with a bunch of new kids and how they sort of work together. In saying that though, our team full of experience and they know how to win, they know what to do. And I'm going to equate this to the North Melbourne game where we really didn't get out of first gear until we needed to, and that was pretty much in the second half towards the middle of that third quarter, and then we really put our foot down. Here's third, here's fourth gear. So I dare say it's going to be similar to that. I probably have St Kilda, if not ahead of us at halftime, within striking distance of us at halftime, and then we put our foot down. It's like a rope-a-dope. Collingwood's season for most of these games have been a rope-a-dope game. Show us what you got, and then we'll show you what we've got. And I think that's, for the most part, that's working. That's conserving energy. It's a way to manage players without managing players. You'll see, I feel like you might not even see a lot of players on the bench. Sometimes we'll be saying, Ned Long only played 70%. Merritt McCreary played 65. Seal Bottom played 75, and he's usually playing 85. I think we want to see a lot more of our older guys get a lot more runs into them, because in my mind, what I'm thinking, and I'm 32, right? If it's too cold and I haven't done a lot of activity, I need to keep warm to get my body moving. We've played one game in 22 games. Would that be a detriment to these old guys, or would that be a bonus that they've got so much of a break? So that's going to be an interesting thing to see as well. Now, for our team, it'll get announced on Thursday night, but it's looking likely that Braden Maynard and Patrick Lipinski will play. I'll be at training to see if that is the case with the squads and stuff like that. If they do come in, I dare say probably Sullivan and Hayes will be the guys that miss out. I think Braden Maynard is exactly what we're going to need, especially if Windhager is going to be tagging Nick Dacos. I want to see Braden Maynard fly the flag for him, because most of our players aren't doing that. And we know that Windhager has had big wins over the season. He tagged Bontempelli really well, albeit they still lost by 70 plus points, but he tagged Bontempelli really well. I dare say that's coming for Nick Dacos. I want to see our players fly the flag for him and go into battle for him. So my big calls and predictions. I honestly think anything under 40 point win is a loss, right? Yes, I'll take the 4 points if we win by 2 points. Amazing. But I want to see us finally put teams that are lower than us to the sword. I know we saw it against the Kangaroos, saw it against Hawthorn, but I want to see it on a consistent basis. We should be beating this St Kilda outfit by at least 50 points. And I don't usually say that. I don't come on here and say, we should be beating West Coast by 90 points and we'll win by 90 points. But what I've seen from St Kilda over the last 6 weeks, and what I've seen from Collingwood over the last 6 weeks, is just such a contrast of styles and gameplay and obviously personnel. But I can't see us, or I can't see a world where we're not winning by 8, 9, 10 goals if we really, really want to. But like I said, I feel like it's going to be an arm wrestle. And in that last half is when we're going to put our foot right down. Like what we did to the Kangaroos in that last quarter is when we put our foot right down. Will Ross try and slow up the game? Probably. Will that be a bit of a detriment to us? Maybe. I dare say that if he does try and slow up the game and uncontested marks and make it really, really boring, they won't kick a winning score, but I feel like we'll be able to just shoot past their defenses. Like, look at our halfbacks and how much they're running and carry. We're scoring most of our points from turnovers. So you put a little bit of pressure onto St Kilda and they will absolutely crack. You get an intercept, you score points from intercepts. So that's going to be one to watch as well. What kind of game plan is Ross going with? Throwing caution to the wind or keeping caution really close to your chest and inviting the pressure? I don't know. Ross Ball just will flick up a couple of different things. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But this has been my preview of the game, some of my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.